Ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, I'm Jess. What I have found over the past week is that what I want, if I do become the president of SA, is really three things. A, communication. B, community. And I can't remember my third one. Oh, and really advocating for students and making everything we do student-driven. And what I've really observed over my past few years here at UB is that UB is a really, really diverse community. What happens is I think people love to find their niche here because it's so big. You like to find other people that want to celebrate what you do and want to explore the same interests that you do. And the SA has really made that possible because all of the different clubs that we have, all of the different events that we put on really help you be able to find that niche and helps really fund that niche at the same time. And that's awesome. But I think that in the past few years, in a lot of ways, there's become a disconnect between SA and the clubs. And one of the first things I want to do is reestablish that communication with the clubs because for me, my biggest thing is I want to foster a better sense of community at UB. And really, it took me all week, and I finally found the word that I've been looking for, and it's cultural diffusion, which if anyone took like 9th grade history here, your history teacher says it like 100 million times for an entire year, because each one of these little communities creates their own culture. And I think what I want to do here is make it so that there is more diffusion, so that different ideas are flowing in both directions. Yeah, it took me all week to find that to find that word. And one way I really want to do this, though, is first, we have to reestablish communication with clubs. So what I want to do is I would like to create an evaluation system where every 6 weeks, clubs would get to write down on a sheet of paper, really simple, I'm about simplifying everything. Just write down what are we doing good, what are we doing bad, and then they'll send it back up and the entire executive board will go through and read every single piece of paper and kind of jot down, okay, these are things we're doing good, these are things we're doing bad, strengths, weaknesses, and really start to create some data about what we've been doing, because I think that that's really important. The only way to assess and make things better and progress is to see where we're lacking and where we're strong. So a perfect example of how this could really work well is I was talking to the treasurer of the girls volleyball team the other day, and she was like, so for all of our tournaments, we have to, send a check to pay for all the tournaments. Okay, fine. The check has to come from SA. Okay, fine. But you also have to send an invoice to SA. So she emailed SA her invoice, I think she told me 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the money is due very, very soon. And she goes to me, I walked into the office the other day, and whoever I talked to, I can't even remember who I talked to, said, oh yeah, this is the girl whose invoice didn't print, so we just didn't print it. So for 3 weeks, she's been thinking she's going to get this check, and she still doesn't have it. She needs it to pay for her tournament. But if you have this evaluation system where at week 6 and week 12, you're writing, what we're doing good and what we're doing bad, maybe, it's just as simple as, oh, you guys are supposed to give me a check, and I don't have it. Where is it? If I picked up that evaluation paper, I would have been like, oh my God, someone write this girl a check right now. We're gonna send it right now. I think that's something as simple as that. I mean, that a piece of paper glaring you in the face saying you were supposed to do this and you didn't can completely change our communication with clubs. I think that's super important. We should be here to help them. And the only way I think to really foster this sense of community is to start with the clubs because they are yeah.
Oh, 1 minute.
Okay. I think that's what I really want to do. I want to foster a better sense of community. I want you to be able to be in San Francisco or Miami and see someone, who went to UB and have the same experiences. And I think a lot of other really large universities have been able to grasp this concept, and that's what my vision is.
Okay, let's open it up for questions from the editorial board. Eric, would you like to get started?
Sure. One thing I want to ask you about is that in the last couple of weeks in our coverage, we've talked a lot about the level of autonomy that
Yeah.
SA has.
Mm-hmm.
In an editorial we wrote, we even recommended the idea of an advisory board.
Yes, I did read that article.
Okay, well, what do you think about that? Do you think that's a good idea? And what's your overall
Yeah.
perspective on the level of autonomy SA has? And
Yeah, I think that the level of autonomy SA has is actually a really unique university experience. I've been talking to a lot of people, and someone said Berkeley is the only other school in the country that actually is set up similarly to ours. Everyone else has some type of advisory or administrative, like someone from the administration kind of monitoring. Whereas at UB we don't really have that type of system. I think that if we can, I would prefer, honestly, to stay autonomous because I think that it's an amazing feat for the university and for students to be like, yeah, we have this $4 million budget, and you know what, we can do it well. And I think that that's an amazing achievement when you can do it well. I think the problem has become that there are people that have kind of tarnished that ability. And I think that if students are voting and students are being informed, and they'll pick the right person. I think that's something that we don't see enough of. We don't see enough students voting. I think if more students voted, maybe we would pick better people. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. I'm not going to say that I'm ready to have more university people kind of coming in, because I think that if we can really sit down and look at ourselves and say, where did we screw up? What are we doing wrong? Are there things in the Constitution maybe we need to change a little bit? We need to look at ourselves first before we go and reach out, I think. I really think the autonomy of SA is an amazing thing. We just have to make it work better.
so to follow up on that, do you think the pattern of impropriety comes mainly from the personnel and the people within SA? Do you think there are some structural changes that could help alleviate that?
I think that it's never going to be one thing. There's never a problem that isn't complex, that doesn't have multiple working parts. Nothing is simple. I think that it really takes looking at the bigger picture and breaking it down, and kind of, it's something that when, I used to take AP biology in high school, and I would make a flow chart at the end of the day of, this is a really complex system. How do we break it down? What are the parts that aren't working? How does one thing affect another? I think it really takes looking at the system and analyzing it and figuring out what's working and what's not, honestly.
What single work experience qualifies you most to be the student body president?
What single what?
Work experience?
You know what? I think that I don't have the SA experience that a lot of people, some of the other candidates have. I have worked extensively. I don't have a single work experience that I think makes me qualified. I think it's a combination of everything that I've done in my whole life. I'm one of those people where I don't think one single thing prepares you for anything. I think you need multiple things to be a good leader and to be, someone that can take charge. I have worked, we talked about it at the debate, like I have worked as, maybe it wasn't at the debate. I worked as a paralegal. I've worked as, I was a program manager at a gym for a kids program. I've worked extensively on the Honor Student Council. It's a newborn organization. Things are always changing. They're always trying to make it better. Working within the Honors College and working with, the advisors there, the faculty there, the students there, things like that. And it's on a smaller scale, don't get me wrong. It definitely is. The Honors College is a really small community of people here. But I think it's a microcosm for what SA really is. And I think all of those things together is what makes me qualified.
You're in an interesting position with the resignation and everything, so you're not running with a ticket, and you're going to be coming in on an existing e-board, and I was wondering what your relationship is with them and how that will work going forward.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have actually asked me about that because they are concerned. I honestly, Lyle and Sid seem like really nice people. I've never really, hung out with them or spent an extensive amount of time with them, but I'm a pretty friendly person, so I don't think that it'll actually be a problem. I think, there's going to be times when we're all going to butt heads, but that's on any organization of people working together. I think that what it takes is, knowing how to compromise, which I'm pretty good at. So, yeah.
What have you done to educate yourself on how essay works?
Yeah, this is something that I haven't worked on. I've been trying to read the entire Constitution just to get more well involved, just get more well versed. Unfortunately, I really haven't had all that much time since this race is mostly a sprint and not actually a race. But besides that, I've been trying to talk to different e-board members of clubs, talking to different people that are like really well versed in essay, people who are alum who used to work in essay, things like that. Just I find that talking to people and people's experiences are what make you more educated. The Constitution is really helpful because you should learn, how everything works. But I think people's experiences to not only educate yourself on how the system works, but how to make things better is what's really important. Yeah.
What made you want to run for president now?
Yeah, So I've asked myself this question, honestly. And you know what? I'm not choosing you guys. I really do always read the Spectrum. And I just remember reading it and being, honestly, at first, really pissed off. I'm going to be blunt. Like, really angry and really pissed that, like, there are people in essay that are not advocating for students, are not being student-driven. And I just said to myself, I'm like, you know what? I have ideas, and this is something I want to do. I was going to spend this whole year working, getting career experience, and volunteering. That's kind of how I set up this semester for myself, and that's how I planned on setting up next semester. So I looked at everything that's going on in my life, and I kind of was just like, you know what? This is a huge opportunity, and it's an opportunity to really make a change at UB and make UB better. I mean, we all want a better college experience. That's why we do all the different things that we do. And that's what I want to do. I want to not only make my college experience better, I want to make everyone's college experience better. And that's why I'm really into fostering community, because I think that's what's going to enhance everyone's experience. Yeah.
How do you see your relationship with the Spectrum?
Yeah, we talked about this in the debate. I think the Spectrum is really important. It's pretty much the only place where students can very easily and readily get the information that they need about what's going on campus, what's going on at SA, all of those type of things. So I think fostering a good relationship is important. I think that, you guys should be critical when SA does something wrong or someone does something wrong. I think that's part of journalism. But yeah, I think anything that we can do to better our relationship should be bettered. I think that you guys should continue to be journalists and be critical where it's important to be critical and tell students what's actually going on, because you can hear all these things as you walk through the halls or through hanging out with different people, but you need at the end of the day one source that's trusted to give you all of the right information.
Let's do one more question if anyone has one.
I guess one more, then I'll have, if no one else has anything they want to ask. What would you say are two of the most concrete initiatives that SA should really be doing right now for the students?
Okay, I think one thing is rebuilding trust with the students. There's so many things that, I think right now the students see SA actually very negatively. And I think restoring trust in them starts with communication. So I know the current SA was working on a polling and surveying system. I don't really know all the ins and outs of it. I'm not gonna try and sugarcoat it. But I think starting with simply starting polling again to see if people want this artist for Springfest or this artist for Springfest. Stuff like that is really simple to do, I think personally. And it can make a huge difference in how I think students view the essay. I think a lot of students are upset because they feel like the essay is making all these decisions and no one is asking them what they want. I think that that's something that we need to reestablish. I think it's very important to reestablish that. And the other thing is not only restoring communication with students, but then once again, what I talked about before, the evaluation system, restoring communication with clubs, making it better, making us better. That's what I got.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
Thank you.